If an ancient Roman time traveled, like, right into a modern university.
Oh, they would be so confused.
Right. Seeing you slumped over a textbook at 2 a.m., chugging stale coffee, they wouldn't call you a student. Or at least, based on the original definition, you'd be doing the exact
The
opposite.
complete opposite, yeah.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We've got this really fascinating stack of etymology research and historical notes in front of us, and our mission today is to uncover the surprising, fiercely passionate history connecting three words you use all the time: student, study, and studio.
Well, the concept of being a student has really suffered a massive PR problem over the centuries.
It definitely has.
And to understand why, we have to trace these words back to their shared source, kind of like a linguistic river.
Okay, so where does that river actually start?
The headwaters, the absolute source of all these words is the Latin root verb studere. And I mean, it didn't mean to read quietly.
Right, which is what we all think of now.
Exactly. It actually meant to strive, to be eager, or to desire, like a violent, rushing passion. The Romans even used it as this intense command, stude, which literally translates to strive.
Wait, hold on. If stude was this intense Roman command to hustle and conquer a subject, how on earth did early 1900s U.S. college students turn it into a slang word for skipping class?
Oh, you mean the slacker slang?
Yeah. The sources note that a century ago, a stude was basically lazy shorthand for a slacker. That's a total 180-degree flip. Did the meaning just, like, naturally degrade over time?
Well, it's a perfect example of semantic drift. As formal education became institutionalized, the focus shifted from the internal burning desire of the individual to the external mandatory structures of the classroom.
Ah, so the passion just gets stripped out.
Right, leaving behind just a chore. The early 20th century slang was essentially a cynical reflection of that, mocking the very idea of striving.
That is a little tragic, honestly. But okay, if studere was this active burning desire, it makes sense that you'd need a way to label the person actually doing it.
Right, a noun for the person.
Yeah, and maybe a dedicated space to contain that kind of chaotic energy. So how did that river split?
Well, languages are actually incredibly efficient. Instead of inventing a completely new word for a person who exhibits this burning passion, medieval scholars just tacked the suffix "ent" onto the action itself.
So like a person who does the thing.
Exactly. You weren't some passive vessel absorbing facts. Your title, student, literally meant the one who is actively striving. It's an identity defined by effort, not just enrollment.
Wow. And then the space to contain it.
Yeah, so the noun form of that passion was studium. And as the language flowed into Italy during the Renaissance, studium evolved into studio.
Oh, studio.
Right. And it wasn't just a room.
Yeah.
It was philosophically conceived as a space where passion is poured out.
Which makes absolute sense when you think about how exhausting it is to be an art or architecture major today.
Oh, definitely.
Because we literally call them studio students.
The linguistic weight of that phrase is incredible, actually. If you translate it back to its roots, a studio student is a person who strives with passion inside a space dedicated to pouring out passion.
That is intense.
It perfectly captures the grueling, highly dedicated nature of those programs. It's almost redundant, but beautifully so.
So the Italian branch gives us the room, we have the person, the striver, but what about the actual action of doing the research?
You mean the word study itself?
Right, our modern English word study. That didn't just hop the English Channel directly from Rome, did it?
No, it took a detour through France. That Latin noun studium eventually morphed into the Old French word estude.
Estude.
Yeah, which narrowed the focus slightly toward intellectual effort and research. It's from that old French estude that the English language eventually carved out the modern word study.
I love the modern traces of this in the source material, too. That old French word also birthed the modern French etude.
Oh, yeah.
Which, if you're a musician, you know instantly. Etudes are those incredibly difficult, hyper-focused practice pieces you play over and over to master a specific technique.
Or, the famous cosmetics brand.
Right, exactly. But musically, it's so intense.
It all circles back to the exact same mechanism, repeated, dedicated effort. An etude practice piece is the musical embodiment of studere. You are striving, eagerly attacking a technique until you own it. It's never passive.
It completely reframes how we should look at learning. This entire word family, student, study, studio, they all trace back to that single, undeniable source.
That same gene of passion.
Yeah. It's not about sitting under fluorescent lights trying to stay awake. It's about fierce passion, intense desire, and the dedication to master something.
Exactly. It's a reminder that to genuinely study is an active pursuit, not just some passive obligation.
So the next time you feel like learning is a chore, remember the ancient Romans telling you to strive. And I'll leave you with this to ponder. Now that you know studying originally meant striving with a burning, eager passion, beyond the classrooms and the exams, what is something in your life you're truly a student of today?